Okay, hello everybody. Well, haven't uploaded in a year and all, so Pog champ, I'd say. I saw an opportunity to get views, and look, if I'm gonna get views, I want to get views. So what we're gonna be doing here is I'm going to be critiquing this video, which is Stream's response to being accused of cheating on a speedrun that got 5th place. He did not get the world record, he got 5th place for it. So, you know, it's exciting and all. And, well, Dream cheated. It's just a fact. Every smart person I've seen who knows anything about speedrunning or maths has said and agreed that he has cheated. The only people that disagree are him and his anonymous astrophysicist, which he mentions in this video. To be clear, I have watched this video. This is not a reaction, this is a criticism. This is a critique of this video. I have watched it, and yeah, this is a critique of this video. I am not going to be defending Dream. He has cheated. I'm not going to be putting forth maths or evidence. I'm simply going to say, based on none of the maths, none of the evidence, just his behavior alone in this video, whether you should believe he cheated or not, and why. So, we're going to begin this video. Alright.
Probability. Probability is the measurement of how likely something is to happen.
Okay,
Recently,
yes.
One of my speedruns that I did on Twitch has been analyzed by the speedrun.com volunteer mod team and deemed as improbable to a degree that is nearly impossible. So lucky, in fact, that they came to the mathematical conclusion that it had 1 in 7.5 trillion odds of happening. So they put out a video and a long document talking about it, and this is my response.
Okay, now, the first thing you notice is the original video saying that he cheated and did Dream cheat on his speedruns, the verdicts. That video, well, that video he's using the same music, which I'm not sure if I like. It makes it feel like he's making fun of the last video more than he is responding. He just seems like he's making fun. He's using the same music, the same kind of layout, with the intro, then music, then the analysis. He's using that kind of layout, which is the same layout. And obviously, that doesn't mean he copied, but this music is the exact same music. And it's the exact same kind of montage in the back, it's the exact same text, it's the exact same everything. And it just makes me feel like he is making fun of the verdict video. So, there's that. Okay. I don't like this. Professional statistical analysis. Now, when someone puts the word professional in front of it, that whole sentence is just a it's what I'd like to call a fake out. It's saying this video is valid because it is professional and it is analysis. Professional statistical analysis sounds complicated, right? All it means is he paid someone to look at some statistics and go, yeah, this is probably what happened. That's all that means. So professional statistical analysis is just it's a huge sentence that sounds really smart and it sounds really authoritative. It is not public access files. Now, what he's trying to do here is enforce his authenticity and his with public access files you can look at for yourself and see. He's referring to a 9 to 10 page document that he hired an anonymous PhD holder from Harvard to write. Corrections to false information. Now, corrections to false information and new information are very similar. Because surely the new information makes no fucking difference if the information that's portrayed doesn't correct the false information. If you expose new information, it's supposed to correct false information. They are the same thing. He's just doing it to make the video look nice, and I can respect that. But it's annoying. This video is obviously tailored for people to watch and not to think. See, people who actually care about this drama are gonna read the document, right? This is for people who are just passing by and they just want to say, did he cheat? Did he not cheat? And they want to see all the information. Yes, that's about it. Okay, I didn't expect to have to pause it so quickly, but this is stupid. This is just dumb. Quotes from practicing astrophysicist. Physicist. He doesn't even spell astrophysicist right. I swear it's astrophys. It's astrophysicist, isn't it? Yeah, it's astrophysicist. He actually spelt the word wrong, and he's trying to seem professional. He spelled it wrong, which obviously doesn't mean necessarily that this whole video is just stupid and wrong and false, but it's a bad sign. He's claiming to be in the right, and he can't even spell the occupation of the professional defending him. Speedrun moderators. Very inaccurate, imprecise. It's just they are speedrun moderators and a Minecraft developer. Now, this would give him some sort of authority if there weren't thousands of Minecraft developers. Minecraft Java has a smaller team of, I think, maybe 12 people. So if he got a developer from there, that seems reasonable. But Minecraft Bedrock is so... The developing team is so big for Minecraft Bedrock that it's not really that impressive, since there are so many people in it, that a lot of them could... Also, he could have paid them off, and he's not actually quoting them as a recording. He's saying that he has quotes from these people, and he's providing no evidence of these quotes. So, what he's doing is he's trying to give himself and the opinions and the facts he's presenting, he's trying to give them authority by saying that they were said by a professional, someone who knows their shit, and that is just disingenuous as a whole. We're gonna continue.
not sure if you realize how big of a number that is, but that is basically impossible. You have better odds of winning the lottery 3 times in a row. So ever since this math was done, I've had people spamming me, calling me a cheater, and insisting that there's nothing I can possibly say or do to refute the fact that I cheated. Now, every speedrun that I've ever uploaded on my YouTube channel is still verified and still on.
Okay. What he's doing here is he's looking from the outside in. He's trying to give himself, again, he's giving himself authenticity by saying, that's impossible. I must have cheated. It's impossible that I didn't cheat, right? I mean, it's a good video strategy. He's talking about the subjects immediately, so he's making it entertaining for people.
The leaderboards, including a 6th place run in 1.15, but the run that I did on my Twitch on 1.16 is no longer on it. Now, I plan on going over in detail each of these points later, but I want to summarize some misconceptions right at the beginning. 1, the only speedrun that was unverified was a 5th place run that I did on a stream a couple months ago, and all of the world record videos that I posted are still verified. One of the mods said, quote, "We have no reason to believe that any of the 1.15 runs are cheated." 2, the odds are wrong. I hired a professional statistician with a PhD that is an active astrophysicist.
Okay, now what he's doing here what he's done is he's stated an actual fact, and then he's stated one of his defense is one of the statements of defense, and he's put it next to an actual fact to make it seem factual, because he has just said a fact and now he's saying a lie. So what he's doing is he's trying to give authority to the lie that he is presenting, so that he can give it authority and authenticity. And how do I know it's a lie? Well, there were a couple trillion, quite a few simulations run of Minecraft, Ender Pearl barters, and Blaze Rod chances. None of them, out of the trillions that were run, not one of them replicated Dream's luck, and it wasn't like a few of them were above and a few of them below. All of them were below his luck on vanilla Minecraft, with no cheats, nothing like that. All of the simulations were below, and there were trillions run. Over 7.5 trillion, I imagine, were run, and not one of them resulted in that. So what he's doing, that helps to emphasize just how disingenuous he's being, because he's obviously has cheated. I think he went about it the entirely wrong way. He should have just said, "Fuck you, I cheated. Who cares?" Or he should have just ignored it, right? He cheated, who gives a fuck? People are still gonna watch his content. Look. His manhunt, his last manhunt video, got about 20 million views. This has 6 million views. This video has 6 million views. What that means is that about approximately just over a quarter of the people who watched his last video watched this video, which means approximately a quarter of people who watched his last video actually care. About a quarter of his active viewers give a shit. So he could have just said, "Fuck you, I cheated. Who cares? I'm still the most successful YouTuber. My content's still pretty good." Because his content is good. I watch Dream's content. I think he's an asshole and a terrible human being. To make that clear, I do not like him as a person. But as a content creator, his content is very entertaining.
analysis, and I'll be going over parts of that analysis today. 3, I did not delete any evidence, and I was doing everything I was asked to by the mods, and I actually have one of the mods on later to come and confirm that. And 4, not all of my 1.16 live streams were used for the data. Only the 6 luckiest ones were. I had 5 other streams before those streams I did on 1.16, but they had below average luck and were not included in their analysis.
Okay, so what he's doing here is he's making it seem like the mods were biased by saying they only included the luckiest ones. This is because, right, this is due to the fact that those 6 streams were recorded and streamed within relative proximity to each other. And due to the fact that, they would... Look, if they included all of his 1.16 streams, of course it would look like he didn't... Of course it would look like he just had some crazy luck. Because he didn't start cheating until the streams that he mentioned. The results that he got in all 6 of those streams were literally mathematically impossible. You cannot defend a mathematical impossibility by saying it was cherry-picked. The impossible run was cherry-picked because it was impossible. That doesn't make any sense. It's still an impossible run. What his argument boils down to, the impossible run was cherry-picked because it was impossible, and therefore, when it was found that it was impossible to happen, it doesn't count because it was cherry-picked. And that doesn't make any sense.
Had the expert include these streams in a much smaller, separate analysis, which concluded that with these 11 streams included, the data shows, quote, no statistically significant evidence that Dream was modifying the probabilities. So, now that we got the misconceptions out of the way, which I will go over later, the math. I'm not that good at math, and I'm sure a lot of you watching this may not be either, so I found somebody who is amazing at math.
Okay. So. He included all 11 of those streams, and he put a quote. Modifying the probabilities. All that shows is that for 5 of those streams, the first 5, he didn't cheat. The last 6 happened in a row. It's not like they were cherry-picked. They happened in a row. It's not like they went through every other and they picked the one out of the 2 that were more lucky. They picked the last 6 streams in a row, which shows that he started cheating at that point. It doesn't show that he was never cheating. It shows that the first 5 streams, he didn't cheat. The last 6, he did cheat. And you know what includes on the last 6? His 5th place run. The fact he's defending himself from cheating here is ridiculous. It doesn't matter. He got 5th place. He had a 5th place run. It doesn't really matter.
Specializes in probability to help get to the bottom of it. Bill Nye, the science guy. Yes, you heard me right. Okay, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. That's a joke. A professor with a PhD that graduated from Harvard. That's actually a practicing astrophysicist that is an expert in statistics and astrostatistics. After reaching out to this expert, he insisted that if he was going to do this analysis, that I must agree to release his findings regardless of if they made me look good or they made me look bad. Knowing that I'm innocent, I agree. The mod team is a group of...
This anonymous, really intelligent guy that I'm not going to name because I don't need to, agrees with me. And he's really intelligent, guys. He has lots of qualifications. But I don't want to name him or provide any evidence of the fact that he is who I say is. He's just an astrophysicist with a PhD. Which astrophysicist with a PhD? I don't know. You don't need to know. I know, but you don't need to know. I don't need to provide proof of identity for you to believe me, right? Look at all of these intelligent sounding things that this guy is. He's an astrophysicist. He's got a PhD. He went to Harvard. Crazy. He's so smart, and he agrees with me.
Respectable people, but they're also young and a group of volunteers, so it's hard to fault them for making mistakes when compared to a full-time professional with a specific expertise in a field like this. After extensive research into the mod's math and the logic and reasoning behind this math, the expert found that the math was off. In the description of this video, there's a link to a 19-page report written by this expert that is extremely detailed into exactly what they got wrong and why.
Okay, now. Right. This quote-unquote expert's maths was disproven by a man on Reddit who was certified by the Reddit moderators as having an actual PhD in astrophysics and statistics, and he said that this expert obviously either didn't pay attention in the class or has just forgotten all of his PhD, and whichever company he works for hired him for the wrong reasons because his maths were off. There was a Reddit post about it. You can look it up. At any point. I'll actually probably provide a link if I forget. If I forget to provide a link, just look up something like Reddit disproves dreams response within 24 hours or something like that. The math was off is a bold claim. He's also trying to make himself seem like a nice guy, but not attacking the mods and saying they are wrong, but they are not stupid. They are just young and inexperienced and stupid. Is basically what he's saying.
I won't be going over it entirely in this video, but for people more interested in the math, it's linked in the description. I will be going over what I think are the most important parts, though. First of all, the math was off by at least 7.4998 trillion. And the original number was 7.5 trillion. And like I mentioned earlier, this is a huge number. So it's also a huge number to be off by. On the screen right now is a representation of how far they were off by. Again, I'm sure the mods did their...
What he's doing here is he is discrediting what the mods did by saying they were off by such a ridiculous number. Also, 7.4999 trillion. What he's doing here is he's making it seem as if the odds are actually totally possible, they're totally conceivable, they're totally fine. What he's doing is inherently disingenuous. He is basically calling the mods stupid. He is saying that they were so ridiculously far off with the number. Without any evidence, just saying the expert goes, oh yes, this is the fact and you are wrong. The expert says that, and Dream basically decides to go along with this quote-unquote expert, which is probably just him under an alias, and he's basically saying that the mods were off so ridiculously that any words that come out of the mod's mouth should not be trusted inherently, and that is a fallacy, actually. The idea that just because someone lied once means everything they said is untrue is stupid, and he has been disproven by the trillions of simulations run by the Minecraft speedrunning community. And yeah, that's about it.
Their best, but when talking about someone's character and their image, making mistakes as big as this can be really damaging. After coming to an estimate of a new probability, the expert said this, quote, even in the worst case, the probabilities are not so extreme as to rule out any chance that Dream used the unmodified probabilities. The expert also said, quote, if you ask what is the probability that anyone playing Minecraft has luck as good as Dream did during these 11 streams, then the odds are very high. Dream's luck can be described not in terms of unusual success in the game, but that out of all of the Minecraft players, it was him who got this lucky, and he got this lucky while live streaming. But remember, this could not be counted against him, because he was investigated precisely because he got very lucky. I actually ran a survey where I gave 100 random people 2 options on what the number they talked about meant. Option 1, the odds of a
God fucking damn it, Dream. He's saying so much. I want to keep this video short, but he's saying so much bullshit at once. It's just ridiculous. He's saying, I was investigated because I was lucky. Therefore, the fact that they found I was... Look, here's what he's saying. I was investigated because I was impossibly lucky. Therefore, when they found that I was impossibly lucky, it's wrong. That makes no sense. And is ridiculous. And it's actually one of the arguments he originally used, which again provides evidence to the fact that I'm pretty sure this anonymous Harvard PhD practicing astrophysicist is Dream. He's lying to his fan base, is what he's doing.
top 1000 speedrunner on video or stream getting the luck that I got, or option 2, the odds of anyone doing piglin trades in Minecraft getting the luck that I got. Every single person out of the 100 said option 2. They, and probably you watching this based on the survey, figured that the mods presented the odds of this happening to anyone while trading with piglins. They didn't think that this was the odds of this happening to someone while speedrunning, being a top 1000 speedrunner on stream or video. As a good example, pick a number between 1 and 10. Go ahead, right now, pause, pick a number between 1 and 10. You had a 10% chance of picking the number 7 just then. Now, out of the millions of people watching this, there's probably quite a lot of you that picked that number, but there may only be a few thousand that are recording, but also picked the number 7. And there may even be fewer of you that were doing a...
What he's doing here is again disingenuous, because he's essentially saying these people are experts. They coded the game, Dream. They made the game. These speedrun moderators, they are chosen by the Java people. They helped make the game. To claim that their maths is off and to claim that they are incorrect. This is again disproven by the trillions of simulations that were run. Unless you're going to say, oh, the simulations only show the probability of someone who was not lucky. Someone who they only show the simulation of someone who didn't do this, didn't do that, who wasn't actually eating bacon and drinking eggnog at the same time as streaming and just burning a house down. It's like, you are just being stupid, Dream. You are just being dumb.
reaction to this, or live and also pick the number 7. That doesn't change the odds of you picking the number 7. It's still about 10%. But the odds of you being live and picking the number 7, now we're talking about 0.0001% or somewhere around there. Now, you can see why it might be misleading to say streamer had 0.0001% of getting this lucky, even though it's technically true. But it doesn't change the fact that you had a 10% chance of getting that number regardless of if you were streaming or not. In the words of the professor that wrote the document, quote, extremely low probability events happen at random all the time. If you consider, for example, every Minecraft player, then a perfect run, 2 out of 2 Ender Pearl trades, and 7 out of 7 Blaze Rod drops probably occurs multiple times an hour. Considering all Minecraft worlds ever played and the multitude of ways in which luck plays a role, even 1 in a trillion events happen daily. So that's not even getting into their actual math. That's just about how they presented it. The first thing that's wrong is that they did not correct...
Look, I am actually becoming tired of of disproving the shit this guy says and calling it disingenuous, because it's disingenuous. He's saying these things happen all the time, daily. 1 in a trillion events happen daily. Sure, that's true. One in 7.5 trillion events do not happen to the same person over a span of a couple of days. That it doesn't happen to the same person. 1 in a trillion events happen daily, yes, but it's a different person every day. And the likelihood that the 1 in a trillion event happens to the same person 2 days in a row is actually probably less than 1 in a trillion. So, that's just stupid.
Account for trade stopping. Basically, when you trade with a piglin, you trade until you reach enough ender pearls to then leave and go to the stronghold. When you get enough ender pearls, you immediately stop trading and leave other uncompleted trades. This is a quote from the expert's report. Quote, if the last barter in a sequence is always an ender pearl, because then the speedrunner leaves, then it simply cannot be claimed that all barters are fully independent and identical. Without identical independent barters, the binomial model is inappropriate. In order to prove that the trade stopping was important, the expert ran a simulation over 1,000,000 times that shows that his model is far more accurate to how trading actually works than the model used in the report. Quote, the barter stopping simulation does indeed show that there are fewer barters required to get the desired number of ender pearls if you end immediately after an ender pearl barter. It also helps explain why charts showing dreams...
It doesn't make any difference when you stop. The trades that are happening still have the same probability of happening in that row when you stop, and the binomial distribution works because it accounts. Of course they're all independent and identical. You have a certain number and they are all independent of each other because you have a certain number of trades. They don't affect each other because of the other random probabilities that are happening. They do not affect each other, and they are all identical because the same chance happens over and over and over again. The amount of times a dice is rolled does not affect the probability of getting a number. That is ridiculous and a stupid idea. If I roll a dice 6 times, the likelihood of me getting a 6 the likelihood of me getting a 6 independently is still 1 in 6. They don't influence each other, even if I stop. Now, if I stop after I get a 6, the likelihood of me getting a 6 is still the same on all of them. I just stopped after I got a 6, so the amount of 6s I got relative to the others different. But since each dice roll is independent of the last dice roll because it's random, it doesn't make any sense to claim that because I roll a dice 3 times and then I stop when I get a 6, that suddenly there's a 1 in 3 chance of getting a 6. That's just not true. That's what the binomial distribution does. It actually does the independent... Fuck this, man.
Bartering outcomes seem unbalanced with respect to ender pearls. They don't account for the fact that ender pearls are special because they are the goal of bartering. Accounting for this problem makes the odds extremely more likely. The expert says that, quote, this model has objectively a higher fidelity and thus a more accurate estimate of Dream's odds. However, another thing that's been used against me is that when comparing this lucky streak to Illumina or another popular runner, my streak of runs looks much luckier than, say, a streak of lucky runs they had. Again, here's another quote from the document from the expert. Quote, the low probability of Dream's runs and that Dream performed much better than other speedrunners should not be considered as independent pieces of evidence. They both indicate the same thing. Any lucky speedrunner chosen because they look lucky will look lucky when compared to other speedrunners. Not to mention that...
Right. They are comparing you not to other speedrunners, to other lucky speedrunners. Illumina is the luckiest legitimate speedrunner that happened there. You were chosen because you look lucky. Illumina was also chosen because he looked lucky. The difference in your luck is so ridiculous that this quote should be changed. Any lucky speedrunner chosen because they look lucky will look lucky when compared to other lucky speedrunners. Doesn't make any sense. He's comparing you to Illumina. They said in the video, the luckiest speedrunner we could find. He was chosen because he looked lucky. You are a lucky speedrunner compared to a lucky speedrunner who was chosen because they look lucky, and you still look so incredibly lucky that it's impossible.
That a lot of speedrunners run constantly offline, including a lot of the top 5 times, and these runs are verified, despite not being able to look into their RNG at all. Another thing that the mods got wrong were a few of the bias corrections. The mods claimed that they biased everything in my favor, and that the number they came up with was the lowest possible probability in my favor. One thing that they mentioned in their investigation is that they came up with the number 10 for the number of potential targets for a cheater to change. They also said that this was a generous exaggeration, as they could only think of a few. This confused me, so I asked them for a list. When I asked for the list of the 10 that they were referring to, they were unable to provide one, and they inferred that it was arbitrarily chosen. So I decided to come up with a list myself of all the possible targets that a cheater would try and cheat in speedrunning that have similar importance to blaze rods. I was able to come up with a detailed list of 37 different RNG targets that I believed were very comparable to blaze rods. I shared this list with a few speedrunning experts, including Illumina and Benix, and they seemed to agree that the 37 I listed were fair, and incredibly more accurate than the random number 10 that there was before. This was actually a recurring theme throughout the document. They would say a number and claim that the number was the most favorable number possible for me, and then use it in calculations, and then when me, other runners, or the expert would look into it, it would turn out that the number that they claimed was the best possible number in my favor was so far from it that it usually was actually the worst possible number against me. Another example of this is
what he's saying here is quite simply stupid. He thought of 37 things and other speedrunners agreed with him. Okay, great. 37 things that a speedrunner could cheat in. Why would you want to cheat in? Realistically, there's 3 things you're going to want to cheat in. That is ender pearl barter rates, that is blaze rod drops, and that is the amount of Eyes of Ender already in the end portal. And maybe how close an end portal is to you, right? Those are the 4 I can think of. It's ridiculous to say that there are 37. Yes, he's a speedrunner, but the speedrunning moderator team concluded in 10. They have more authority than him. They are verified, and they actually know speedrunning. Dream speedruns. He is a speedrunner. He is not a speedrunning moderator, and therefore, obviously, has less authority than speedrunning moderators. The 37 things he came up with are... it's a huge stretch to say that there are 37 things that a speedrunner would want to cheat on. That doesn't make any sense. No.
that they claimed that the formula they used would find the lowest possible odds in their favor. But the expert tested their formula on their own example of coin flips and found that their lower bound, or what they claimed to be the lowest possible odds in my favor, were actually twice as high as the actual odds of a coin flip, meaning the formula they used was extremely flawed against them. And it only gets more flawed when talking about lower probabilities. In the report, the expert says, quote, "The claim that the p-values given in the MST report are as favorable as possible is not supported by our investigation." The biggest problem that I have with this is that the way that the mods...
Honestly, I've gotten sick of dealing with this video. There is so much bullshit and there are so many lies in this video. I actually simply cannot be bothered to continue doing this video. I'm going to end it here, actually. I am not... He's going to say the same shit over and over again. I will come back to this video at a later date. My summary is, Dream definitely cheated. That's not a bad thing. I don't really care that Dream cheated. The problem with this is that Dream is lying to his fanbase, and his fanbase trust him wholeheartedly. He is taking the trust that his fanbase have for him, and he is he is abusing it because he is lying to their fanbase, and because they are so trusting of him, they